Okay. Welcome back to Lenz Comic Corner, Classic Lesson Young Classics. This is episode number 1508, 87, and Doubleshot number 1481. Two women trades, first one featuring She-Hulk. She-Hulk Volume 2, Disorderly Conduct. Yep. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention when it came to the previous artist. I have nothing against Ron Wimberly, but man, this artwork sucked. The first artist was good, but man, what the heck is up with this? This artwork is bad. I mean, look at this artwork. It's a good thing this artist only stayed for 2 issues. And look at how this artist draws frickin' Tigra. Yes, Tigra. This, color-wise looks good, but man, this is so bad. Oh my gosh. But thank God we got a much better artist with this. Yes, the original artist, the original artist comes back after being absent for 2 issues. Now, first up, we have a storyline involving, well, first we have Giant Man showing up, because of course we have Giant Man. Now, is it Hank Pym? Yes, it is Hank Pym. This is actually before his death in Age of Ultron. Yeah, he's here, and they solve some stuff related to ants, and there's some conflict between Patsy and Jen throughout this little story arc. And then we have a very interesting interesting story arc where Captain America, well, basically Steve Rogers, the one who's been de-aged, makes a guest star appearance in the issues, and he's being involved in a wrongful death suit. And who is representing the opposing attorney? Daredevil, of course. Yep, Daredevil is representing them. Yeah, it's later revealed it was actually his idea. It was actually, well, Steve's idea, of course. And this is a 3-parter that basically just takes up a small chunk of this trade. And it just, like, lots of text here, but it's written really well. Because, of course, Charles Soule is his lawyer. So he knows all about lawyer stuff. It's a really good thing. It basically talks about what Captain America's history. It was really interesting multi-part they had in this book. The last couple issues deal with the Blue File. That was something that was set up at the start of it, and then was put to the side, mentioned again, and then basically brought again here. And despite the fact Angie was told not to investigate the Blue File, she did. She did her own separate investigation to it. It's like tells her fired, but then it's like, oh yeah, it's Night Watch. And you're thinking, Night Watch, who the heck is that? He's a character, if you look at him, he looks like a Spawn ripoff. He was probably responsive for Tom McFarlane leaving. Yes, Charles Soule establishes a retcon about Night Watch, where he originally was a villain known as Knight Rider. Yes. Where the guy was a murderer, and then he turned into Night Watch, where it has the whole town disappear, and he captures Shocker, Dr. Drood, who actually is not a suit villain, by the way, and he hypnotized a bunch of people to believe, oh yeah, he's actually a hero, not really a mass murderer, and he gets confronted about this, and he's hauled off to jail. And this last I heard is last we see of Night Watch. Night Watch himself actually had been dead at this point prior to this, for over a decade. Yeah, I'd say for about 18 years he had been dead. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had been dead for a long time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had been dead since like 1996. Yeah, that's when he died. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he died in 1996. He was brought back in 2015, so after be dead for 20 years. Charles was like, oh yeah, I'll bring him back and retcon he's actually a villain. Yep. And then after this, and the whole thing with relation, and of course, well, Angie, of course, is rehired. And there's also a brief cameo by Howard the Duck, signaling, oh yeah, he's getting comics soon after Secret Wars. And you probably think, okay, wrap up this book here. Is this book coming back after Secret Wars? Nope. Never did. Not at that point, anyways. They've not come back for over a year. With a completely different writer and new direction. But this book is good. Very good indeed. My final thoughts on this run for She-Hulk. Even though it's a short run, it's good. Really good. I personally loved it. Yeah, it's just a really good run. I do appreciate Soule basically retaining the humor that She-Hulk, the She-Hulk book had over the years, which I gotta appreciate him doing that. And, well, just a good book. Now, what would Soule do right after Secret Wars? Well, he would take over writing Daredevil. Yep. Of course, also at the same period of time he was working on this book, he did Inhuman. And when that book ended, he was starting on Uncanny Inhumans. But the first issue was, he started with issue 0, but it was delayed by a few months because of Secret Wars. And eventually, that was one of 2 books he was writing at that point. Actually, one of 3. Actually, one of 4 books he was writing at that point, because he was also briefly writing All New Inhumans, which I have reviewed that one already. The other books he reviewed were like Poe Dameron, of course, Daredevil, obviously. And all those books has ended. Currently, you can find them on Star Wars. Yep, but we'll discuss more about that when I get to talk about Charles and Comic Corner in a comic history. Next up, it is Sensational Wonder Woman. Yep, this of course is celebrating 80 years of Wonder Woman. This is a series of stories published for this digital first comic book from DC. And there's a lot of writers on here. First up is a storyline where you have Wonder Woman basically in the 50s, basically a 50s stay-at-home mom, 50s wife, where her husband's name is Daniel, and done by Stephanie Phillips, which I believe this is the writer for Harley Quinn now, but not the same artist. Yep. Yeah, it turns out this is all just a dream caused by Dr. Psycho of all people. Yes. And Hawkgirl was trying to wake her up. Yes, Hawkgirl. Which is interesting. Oh, and by the way, at least the artists remember that Dr. Psycho is short. But that was the first story. Second one is basically Ardreshia, which features the return of Artemis. Yes, I believe at this point this is probably the first time featuring her since the end of the Red Hood Outlaw series. She's here for this one story because she's investigating disappearance. They're basically fighting a war world, and eventually they ask her help because apparently her Bonadonna, her Amazon tribe, had disappeared. And well, she was reluctant to ask to help out, but yeah. And then we have a story about Colleen Dorn, where it's basically just Wonder Woman saving people. It's a really fun story. Next is Museum Gala, which is Wonder Woman with Batman. Yes, Batman in Gotham City. Where it's a story done by Alyssa Wong, artwork by Eleonora Cantati. Which, this is really good. I like this artist's art. I like the way this artist draws faces. Looks really good on here. Yeah, where it involves Mr. Freeze showing up. Yep, Mr. Freeze. And you might be asking, Nick, did Diana ever fight Mr. Freeze before? The answer is no. She has never fought Mr. Freeze before this I can think of. But it's a really good standalone story. Next up, Ice Blue. You're thinking, Ice Blue, is it featuring Mr. Freeze? No, it isn't. This is Karna Becco and art by Danny. Yeah. This artist is just okay. It almost seems like a lot of the time this feels like very beginner level artwork for Wonder Woman. Yes, it seems like we have an artist who's just starting on the business. Nothing against how he draws. It just seems as though he needs a little more polishing. It's an interesting story for what it is. Next up is Ultimate Fangirl by Amy Chu. Yep. It's all about a senior citizen who's a big fan of Wonder Woman. Yeah, apparently from back in World War II. It's an excellent story. Which, yes, Wonder Woman makes guest appearance. She's basically a supporting character in a story about her. But it's fine. Next, we have the Queen's Hive, which is mostly her fighting stuff related to Queen Bee. And it's written by Sonia Grace. I act this way because this is a writer who once put his foot in his mouth on Twitter. Yes. And I keep thinking, though, like, why the heck does this guy keep getting work? And then we have sort of like a new version of Villain Incorporated in this story, where she ends up fighting, well, get this. Like, Queen Bee apparently set up her own group of people comprised of Silver Swan, Dr. Poison, Giganta, and the Blue Snowman. Yep, it's kind of like Villainy Incorporated, but they don't really say it really is, but it could be it. This one definitely feels like a Wonder Woman story that should be in the main title. Yep, just a really good one. And I think this is the last one here. This is the Empty People, that by Sign Hour, who's writing art. This is like the story itself is interesting at best, but the best thing about this story is the artwork. The artwork is so good here. Yeah, I love the artwork with the story. And yeah, it's the last one here. And this is definitely artists I would love to see another title. Because, oh, just that damn good. Yep, for some really good Wonder Woman stories, I'm going to give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Damn good book. The only thing I do give fault off is having Sonia Grace there. I have nothing against Sonia Grace. It's just that basically, when I basically hear that Sonia Grace book, I just cringe because of him putting his foot in his mouth. That's, well, I don't know if this is a woman or not. I have nothing against Sonia Grace, but this is the person who wrote Iceman and read Wonder Woman now. But luckily, just one story. Yep. By the way, this collected the first 7 issues of the Sensational Wonder Woman comic book. I don't think it's being published anymore. I don't know. This actually is one of the newer titles. Yeah, I believe it's a well, it's actually about half of the series right now. Yeah, it's digital first book. I think this just contains the first 7 issues. I'm definitely looking forward to viewing the rest whenever they come out. Yep. But yeah, not much to say about these 2 trades. I mean, the She-Hulk book was really good. And now, well, talking about Sensational Wonder Woman. Just one more trade left to go for this one, and that's simply it. Yeah, the last issue, well, these issues themselves, like, well, there's still more stuff for this one, so don't worry about that. Okay, so that's it for Circular Review. Stay tuned for the next Comic Corner, which I have one more left to go. I'm going to take a break for a bit, because I have to take everything first. But don't worry, be up soon, okay? See you next video. Bye.